Today I'm interviewing Mohamed Alsaidi in a flow of interview of an oral history project. This interview is conducted in the reference room of Connor Residency at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill on November 13, 2012. Okay, Omar. Last time we were talking about your family background and immigration to America and the reasons of your immigration. Today we will switch to your family's Arab and Islamic culture and how 9/11 attack affected your and your family's hope of finding good life and success in America.
Okay.
In what way is Arab culture important to your family? Does your family still do activities like traditional foods, celebrate holidays, and listen to Yemeni music?
Sure. On the cultural side of things, I think we still do a lot of the normal things Yemeni people would do back home, as far as listening to Yemeni music. Also cooking traditional Yemeni dishes, eating them most days. Also celebrating holidays, religious holidays, cultural holidays, things along that nature. But as far as like wearing Yemeni clothes while in America, that's not so much. That's not something we do so much, just because it's so different. You know. See, other traditional things we do. The women wear a lot of traditional Yemeni clothes more than the men do at like parties and weddings, stuff like that. Also, weddings that are hosted here in America are hosted along the Yemeni tradition. It's like a week-long wedding for the girls' side, and then a 2-day wedding for the men's side. And they do everything they do in Yemen. They just do it here.
Like the same things.
Same things, yeah. So those are the cultural things we've stuck with. So a lot of them have stuck with us here. And mixed with American cultural norms.
Can you tell me like one type or perhaps like many types of foods that are traditional to your family?
Yeah, sure. There's kunafa, which is like, it's kind of like an Egyptian dish, but it's, I don't know how to describe it. It's sweet. It's oily, kind of oily. Probably not that good for you, but it tastes pretty good. There's like a rice dish, which is just rice and either lamb or chicken or goat, whatever you want. Some other dishes. This is a dish called selta, which is kind of, you use like chicken or beef or whatever, and take the gravy from it and boil it with potatoes and vegetables and whatever, and eat it with bread, and then eat it with the meat. So those are the 3 main dishes in Yemen.
All right. Can you tell me like some of the musics that you used to listen in Yemen?
Yeah. The music scene isn't that big in Yemen. There's not much music that comes out of Yemen. A lot of it's really traditional music, which is played on the like a Yemeni guitar. It's like circular from the back. I think it's called oud.
Oud.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what they used to play. A lot of the traditional Yemeni music, but most of it's old. There's not much new Yemeni music, so I don't really listen to it that much.
All right. Do you think that your family impression of this culture changed over time? If yes, what factor or factors have influenced your family to change this expression?
You talking about Yemeni cultures?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think the perception has changed as you come here. You find that a lot of those cultures are a little bit outdated. And I don't know, outdated, not only outdated, but also just not not to the best interest of everybody.
Mm.
For example, like the culture of like women covering their face when they go out in public is just outdated, especially here in the United States. You just draw more attention to yourself if you do that. But in Yemen, it's a normal cultural thing. Yeah, so yeah, perceptions have changed.
So I'll point the same question to you. How is Arab culture important to you?
I don't think it's really important. I've embraced American culture more than Arabic culture.
So what
to be honest with
factors, what factor or factors influenced you like as well?
Factors influence me in what?
In you said like like Arab culture is not important to you.
Yeah, I just think American culture's. I'm much more comfortable with American culture. It makes much more sense than Arab culture. I think Arab culture is a little bit, like I said, outdated and old and backwards a little bit. So it's not something I'm really fond of. I'm much more comfortable with American culture.
I know that you don't remember much of your childhood and how it was like in kindergarten and elementary school, but I want you to tell me your experience in the middle school and high school. Um, what was it like to be a Muslim, and did that affect your experience?
No, I don't think it affected my experience at all. Are you talking about a Muslim in middle school? Or?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, in both, like in middle school and high school. I mean, like tell me like each one.
Yeah, and I mean, I think both were the same in middle school and high school, and it never affected anything. I mean, it was never an issue. So I mean, I just had a normal middle school and high school experience. Like being Muslim or Arabic had absolutely no factor in my experience in middle schools and high school. Which I think is one of the things I really value in Americans is that, even if you're Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever, it really doesn't affect anything. Whereas it might be different. Let's say if you're a Jewish person in a Yemeni middle school, you might be bullied or people talk down to you or be mean to you. But I never had that experience here.
All right, so do you see yourself as an Arab American or as just Arab?
As either an Arab or an Arab American?
Yeah.
I would say I don't see myself as an Arab or an Arab American.
Why?
I think I see myself as an American more than an Arab or an Arab American, just because I think I've embraced American culture and the American way of life and America in general more than I've embraced Arab culture. So it's almost like I've given up most ties to the Arabic community and Arabic culture. So like I said, I see myself more as an American than an Arab American or an Arab. Yeah. And I came here from Yemen when I was young, and that might have something to do with it. And I think the longer I stay, and my kids and their kids were moved further away from identifying as Arab, and more towards identifying as American. Or for instance, my brother and sister, they were born here, so I think they would move more towards American identification than Arab American or Arab identification, just for the reason of being here longer and embracing it for a longer period of time, the American culture.
How about your parents?
I think my parents identify as Arabs more than. Well, my dad might be Arab, identifies Arab American, but my mom Arab. She has more ties. She tries to keep stronger ties to Arabic culture, but my dad likes to mix the two. He likes to do some of the Arabic stuff, some of the American stuff. But my mom likes to keep a majority of what we do tied to Arabic culture.
What aspects of Islamic identity are most important to you, and how is this expressed in your life?
I've never been really religious, so
Mm.
I don't think any aspects of Islamic, you said culture or religion? Identity, yeah, I don't think any aspects of Islamic identity are I can identify with. I've just had trouble embracing Islam because um, it just seems like a little bit of an not just Islam but religion in general. I can't embrace. It just seems like religion is really sometimes it speaks against itself. For instance, in Islam it says everybody should be equal, but then men and women aren't equal.
Mm.
That's one example. Or just some of the stuff that you can read in the Quran, I don't agree with, and that goes with the Bible or anything else. So I've never embraced religion, whether it be Islam or Christianity or Judaism. Sometimes I even question: is there even a God? Is there a heaven? Is there hell?
Mm.
And I think that might come along with maybe the more time you spend in school, the more time you spend interacting with other people. You just put less and less weight on religion, and more weight just on sort of common sense, science, things along that line. So religion has never had a big impact on my life. Probably won't in the future either.
And how about your parents, your father and your mother?
Yeah, my father's religious, so is my mother.
Mm.
But they've never tried to force me to be religious or anything.
Mm.
They just told me what I need to know, and then I guess it was up to me to make the decision. So the decision I made was that Islam or any kind of religion, just because, like I said, I think religion brings about more problems than it does solutions. It just divides people and makes people feel like they're different from each other. Like when you're asking me in the beginning, how did it feel to be a Muslim in school? It's like it had no effect. Why would it have any difference? For that reason, I feel like people take religion as a chance to divide people and make people feel like, oh, these people have something against you and you have something against them. That's why I've never really embraced it.
Are girls and boys treated differently in your family?
No. I think they're treated the same. And whatever I have, my sisters have. We're treated the same way. My sisters might be treated a little better than what I am, as far as being more spoiled, stuff like that.
I mean, there are differences between the Islamic cultures and the Christian cultures.